abode. The master at this time had not yet realized the seriousness of the situation. Ling Xiao began to question him. That day, the main character went to challenge his master, but he had anticipated it. If that is the case, then why do you continue to treat your disciple like a fool? Today, I beg my master to give me a clear explanation. After hearing this, the master paused for a moment and sighed softly. He didn't want Ling Xiao to know too much because putting pressure on myself. There's a saying that the more you know, the heavier the burden you bear. Only Ling Xiao needs to know, no matter what happens in the future, his master will always be there to protect him, and Ling Xiao only needs to live a carefree life, as he did when he was a child. Ling Xiao, who can bring his own plot by getting better, knows the many meanings of this sentence the master has to face, but with the destiny child who can destroy the sect. I saw the master taking a small sip. Those heartfelt words followed. Do you know, before I met you, this is my first time being the master. I'm afraid my lazy nature will hinder my Xiao heir's future. Now that you know this, you must think your master is ridiculous, right? Not at all like the tall, powerful master you imagined, right? Ling Xiao felt a sharp pain in his heart when he saw this. The revered and cold master showed her vulnerable side before him. The master may know that he may not be able to change the course of future events. It's as if he was giving an account to posterity. His sorrowful expression made one's heart ache. Just then, Ling Xiao suddenly kissed the master's forehead passionately. My master was the first to react, but he did not yell at Ling Xiao, but instead, his face was red and he stammered. For my apprentice's rude behavior, he felt joyful, but he could not express it before Ling Xiao. To cover up this incident, Ling Xiao took out his treasured black silk stockings. The world-honored one beheld the quality of these socks. Indeed, they were at par with the millennial ice silk on his own legs. He then cast an intentional glance at Ling Xiao, only that these socks felt a tad bit tighter, and their length was just enough to cover his inner thighs. He wondered if Ling Xiao was a good fit for the socks he had him wear. Watching Ling Gao's anticipant expression, the master resolutely refused, saying the socks were just ordinary, not worthy of his handmaid status. But his body was very honest, and he shielded the socks behind him. However, as soon as Ling Xiao left, the master took out the socks, muttering to himself the whole while, this kid never does his job properly, just collecting this weird and wonderful stuff. But thinking back to Xiao Er's expression just now, it seemed like he was really looking forward to me wearing this. Heh heh. Actually, as long as this smelly kid can crush Yichin in the 5 lineages tournament, so she doesn't mind being seen by that brat. While Ling Xiao, in order to avoid the 3 junior sisters from tampering with aid, assisted the plot. He stayed with junior brother Hua Yixin for 3 days. Seeing his junior brother holding a plate of Kun Kun, Ling Xiao grabbed Kun's leg and started showing off. On the way, also asked about the 3 junior sisters' activities during these past few days. Upon learning that Hua Yixin had not revealed her whereabouts to the 3 junior sisters, he breathed a sigh of relief, although the secondary system of pellet of translucence let him off the hook, judging that his restoration of the character was successful. But 3 days later, Guan Yurong's secondary line. He will never allow any more problems to occur. Hua Yixin was confused. He is confused. Why has his elder martial brother been staring at these labels for the past few days? He only learns after Ling Xiao explains it to him that these are like jades. Each jade token is linked to the name of each inner disciple. It is also convenient for communication with disciples. Execute missions abroad. Just then, Hua Yixin heard and abruptly asked, what if the person died? Snap! By chance, a jade token shattered. But Ling Xiao still explained that if someone dies, the jade token cracks. Just like now. Looking at Xiao Nan's jade tag, junior brother Hua Yixin exclaims it's impossible. He's the esteemed disciple of the Long Jiao True Man. His strength is only second to sect leader Long Shofen. Senior brother Su is only below him. Li Xiao Zhe indifferently says, that just means something big is going to happen. His heart also clearly understood that the demons had invaded. Next, Rome and the other disciples will lead the team to Tsengnan City to resist the danger of exorcism. After a while, dark clouds gathered in the sky, followed by the auspiciousness of the chief seat of Woman. Please ask the slow chief to bring the chief disciple of your own family, as well as 3 youth league disciples. Go to Xinshao Palace now too. And Ling Xiao also said at this time, Hoha, remember what the master said to you. Remember. Then King Linzong may be in trouble, and you can't possibly be the one who survives. Leave early is your only chance. This remark moves Hua Yixin very much. No wonder senior martial brother kept trying to persuade me to leave the Jade Orchid sect. Turns out, he had calculated everything from the start. Senior martial brother, if the sect is in peril, then you too are in peril. Now, Hua Yixin suddenly doesn't want to leave anymore. Truly, love and dispassion are only a thought apart. Originally, it was just an ordinary farewell before a student departed from their teacher, but the master unexpectedly, which he gave him last night before leaving, and all this was found by the junior sister. The junior sister looked at the grass sword she made day and night. Tears could not help but fall from her eyes. Did you say only Ying could wear this? Will Ying look good in this? Of course, this is the only one in the world. So to fight against the invasion of the demonic cult, the leaders of the martial arts alliance would each send out their own disciples. After everyone had recited their oaths, Yi Chen, who had been sealed by the heavens, arrived late. The main character thought he was the most. The next big name character to appear was currently basking in the flattery of his disciples. But the next second, he heard a long cry. The master of ceremonies softly uttered a sentence. Has Ling Xiao, head of the Shenlun Peak, arrived? The male protagonist's face instantly fell, and when Ling Xiao appeared, his handsome and dashing appearance, he attracted countless fans in an instant. Upon seeing Ling Xiao steal his limelight as soon as he appeared, the male lead went straight up to Ling Xiao and said, "You're very daring. At such an important occasion, you actually dared to show yourself. Do you put esteemed elders like us in your eyes at all?" Even though Ling Xiao's ultimate mission is to die at the male lead's hands, but it does not prevent him from talking with the male lead at this time, and the master, seeing that his own disciple has the upper hand, immediately opens his mouth to prevent the two from fooling around. This undoubtedly makes the male lead, who was already unable to get off the stage, even more angry. Su Shirhua, who gradually loses control of the scene, immediately announces the start of the draw. While in the original work, Yi-Chen was defeated and entered Foaming Peak. Zhu Wanning draws to start the game with her own Cyan team. Yi-Chen follows as a member. Nowadays, Su Jingqing, the leader of Long Shoufen, the male lead of Tiandang Peak, and Ling Xiao lead a team. It is obvious that the plot has been changed, just when Ling Xiao was thinking how to pull the plot back. At the time, Zhu Wanning, who also woke up to Heavenly Dao's memory, chooses to replace Long Shoufeng's chief in battle, just because in Heavenly Dao's memory, Zhu Wanning learned that Ling Xiao, in order to save the Qinglan sect, single-handedly resisted the male lead twice. This life he must fight alongside Ling Xiao. The head of the sect, Wen Yan, tacitly approved Zhu Wanning's request. It so happened that the teacher also made a formal request. He'll be accompanied by the second and third of his younger fellow disciples to Chanan City for desert training. Where there is pleasure, there is pain. Younger fellow disciple. When she found out that she couldn't go with her elder fellow disciple, she became very disheartened. Ling Xiao could not have imagined. The plot surprisingly got back on track this way. Shemen was sealed the next day. The gate is not decorated. Why fear a battle? Powerful words are encouraging all the disciples present. Upon seeing this, Ling Xiao also waved a big hand. The demon slaughtering squad will set off immediately. But then, suddenly, an angry voice shouted, "You brat, hold it. My master still looked like my master, except for fresh new skin on her leg. She fussed over me like a young bride, saying goodbye before I left. The whole time, my eyes were fixed on her legs, embarrassed and bright red face, not noticing the person behind them. Junior apprentice sister is looking at the new socks on master's legs. After looking at it, looks down at the grass she wove with her own 2 hands for Ling Xiao. Sword. Uncooperative tears instantly streamed down her face, whispering incessantly in his mouth. She said Ying would be like no other. At the same time, Long Shaofeng comprehended the way. Ya Jiang was sat down in front of Xiao Nan for 3 days. He hated himself for knowing the future plot, yet still could not prevent those around him from dying one by one. In his opinion, even with the system, before Yi-Chen and the female lead, the Destiny children, he's nothing but an ant. That's why he lived in seclusion in this enlightenment cliff for 60 years, just thinking about the system, and he couldn't beat even the auxiliary male lead. He felt that he was the shame of a transmigrator. While Shionan's death caused a slight ripple in his long-held obsession, he decided to act early and try to seize the male protagonist's opportunity once more. Even if obtaining Soul Pearl meant flying into a fire, he would give it his all to rescue the Qinshou scholars and protect Qinlan, the sworn younger brothers and sisters that Song Nai had never met and polished for 60 years. The Tai Xianqing sword. It's time to unsheath. After a day of running around, the Ling Xiao squad finally arrived at Luowa town, which is not far from Kanglan City. Seeing his eldest senior brother looking uncomfortable, the third junior sister discussed with the second junior sister. It's already late. Why don't we find an inn up ahead to stay at for now? Ling Xiao looked at the 2 girls with a blank expression. In the original work, it wasn't me, the blue-robed senior brother, who was always clamoring to stay at an inn. However, Ling Xiao looked at his 2 junior sisters' excited expressions, and he didn't want to break up the warm atmosphere. Oh well, as long as the final destination is the same, it's fine. Then the group of 33 led by Hua Yijing in the marsh quickly booked the whole inn. During their stay in the inn, Ling Xiao kept thinking about following the original plot. 2 forks in the road would appear tomorrow, one covered with thorns, with a heavy yin energy, bearing the mark left by the evil sorcerers. But the other one is level as far as the eye can see, bathed in sunlight. Ling Xiao in the original novel was a weakling, so he naturally chose to call the police. His second senior sister's thigh forced him to take the second path, and his third senior sister, in order to fulfill the mission of the sect, set out on the first path with several disciples, walked towards the first path, trying to spy on the trajectory of the heretics' activities. But in fact, there is nothing on that fearful and thorny path. In contrast, the sunny path encounters some Taoist traders of the ghost cult who cast spells, and at the critical moment, Ling Xiao pushed his junior martial sister out of danger, escaping alone. But unexpectedly, the second younger martial sister and the evil sorcerer accidentally fight. Finally, the male lead arrives and kills him with one sword. Only then did he obtain the cheating artifact, the Divine Mind Pearl. Ling Xiao, after sorting out the plot, was about to meditate for a while when he saw junior brother Huaijin again, walking over with a pot of fragrant pork rib soup. The delicious gravy smell put all disciples off to sleep. He teased Huaijin that he would marry off well if he were a girl. Huaijin scratched his head in embarrassment. He was about to say that he got the ribs from the third sister, instead of hunting for them himself. Third sister quickly coughed twice. It seems that he wants to cover up this matter. I just saw his fake smile. He greeted junior brother Huaijin to have a drink together. However, a pot of soup is not enough for 33 people to share, not to mention Huaijin. He knew that he was still an outer disciple, so he quickly declined. The second junior sister also joked. What about Huaijin? Pour Miss Chu sure a cup of tea. She likes this green tea. Third junior sister Wenyan always has that fake smile on her face, but her provocative gunpowder is always not just for second junior sister. Doesn't second senior sister like tea too? But I never drink green tea. Just when the 2 of them were at a standstill, with a thud, one disciple fell to the ground, his face ashen. Trembling, he said that the soup was poisoned. All at once, everyone turned their suspicions towards Huaijin. Ling Xiao was also filled with fear, because he had also drunk the soup, but he didn't realize the soup was poisonous. See, Ling Xiao also angrily grabbed Huaijin's pectoral muscle. Huaijin was in agonizing pain. Are you out of your mind? If not for Huaijin, could it be that the spies grinding the door have mingled in? And in the moment before Ling Xiao fainted, the only thought in his mind was that the poison was too strong. Immediately after, all 33 members of the face mask team fell down without exception. After a while, a figure rose slowly from behind the crowd. He looked at the unconscious Ling Xiao. The ambiguous look on his face became stronger and stronger. He was just about to do something to Ling Xiao. A cold voice called out, "Third junior sister, let go of that man and let me do it." When faced with the third junior sister, who also has a crush on Li Xiao. The second junior sister did not care about their sisterhood. She decisively drugged the third junior sister, just because in the eyes of the second junior sister, Ling Xiao was the bright light in her life. It turned out that when the second junior sister was young, her whole family was slaughtered by mountain bandits. It was Ling Xiao that, without thinking twice, took revenge for him. Within one night, washed the entire mountaintop with blood, and from that day on, the timid and weak Lady Gui disappeared, and in her place came the invincible Shenlunfeng, the second disciple of Azure Ship. Just now, third sister brought meat soup to refreshment marsh. You put a whole half-pound of knockout drops, and that hint of a smile on third junior sister's face, cunning that was difficult to detect, was still discovered by second junior sister's keen observation. The mantis stalks the cicada, but behind them the oriole waits. Third junior sister, victory in her grasp, did not notice that. The teacup in her hand had long since been drugged by second junior sister. In this way, while the rest of the disciples, after everyone was knocked out by the drugs in the broth, the third junior sister, infatuated, gingerly tiptoed in front of Ling Xiao. The third junior sister's actions were nothing more than to spend the night with the unconscious Ling Xiao. Little did she know that all of this had already been seen through by the second junior sister when she saw a hint of the smug smile when the plot is successful. Only then did the third sister react. So, that cup of tea that junior brother Huaizhen handed her contained poison. The second sister, the reason she didn't faint like the other disciples, was because she didn't swallow the meat soup at all. The second sister let out a scornful smile, fighting poison with poison. Junior martial sister, you may rest now. I won't hurt you because we are fellow disciples, but you are trying to take my beloved senior martial brother. I will take your first kiss before you do. Second martial sister doesn't know. Third martial sister already lost her first kiss to Ling Xiao. Looking at the unconscious Ling Xiao, he resolutely carried him back to the room. He didn't wait, hoping to do anything remotely extreme with Ling Xiao. He gazed lovingly for a while, and then gave him his first kiss. You will, in the memories of heaven's way, kill the devil before the male lead does. You take away the male lead's proud godly artifact, and then give the godly artifact to the male lead's senior brother as an engagement gift. And then you think, he realized the person he kissed first was his third younger sister, and then he kissed his senior brother. Doesn't that mean he made his third younger sister and his senior brother have sex? At a certain attic in the Kanglin city, the demon sex master was enjoying the service from a beauty, but one cold voice completely cut off his fun. Are you the demon sex master, Shibadoran? Upon hearing this, the master immediately cast away the young beauty. Anyone that learns my identity will end up in an unmarked grave. However, just as the demon finished speaking, the second sworn sister launches a flashy attack at him. With just one move, the demon himself was wounded. Watching the demon turn into a puddle of blood, the second sworn sister thought he was not much. He went down instantly. How could he let that bastard of a male lead pick up a bargain? What if she gave this divine weapon to her senior brother as an engagement gift? She wondered if he would like it. As she thought about it, a sweet smile appeared on the second junior sister's face. Just then, a sudden sound made the second junior sister tremble all over. Young lass, you're quite capable. A mere nascent soul cultivator of the Qinglan sect. How dare you trespass into our demonic sect's headquarters? The second senior sister was horrified upon hearing this. When did this person appear behind me? No, why can't I move my body? As the saying goes, villains always talk too much. This young master of the Hall of Souls is no exception. Before he made a move, he insisted on burglarizing his own home to show off his extraordinary status. Second junior sister Wen Yen changed from being shocked to helpless. Her mind was filled with the scenes of Ling Xiao taking revenge for her. Without Ling Xiao, there would be no direct descendant of the second disciple of Shenhuan Peak. He has no regrets about eliminating the obstacles for his elder martial brother in advance. It is just that he has many words in his heart, and had not had the opportunity to tell his elder martial brother yet. Just as the devil was about to succeed, Bai Xing immediately immobilized the devil. The person who came was Ling Xiao. His imposing manner. This demon inexplicably felt an urge to worship. Ling Xiao looked at the demon king with icy eyes. With just the force of his presence, the demon king could not bear it, and instantly turned into ashes. He died without understanding why the Qinglan school was about to fall, when such a powerful man would emerge. It turned out that Ling Xiao had arrived in the nick of time, all thanks to the system for this healthy fragrance, and the steam protector. That is why I did not completely pass out. Ling Xiao also learned from the system that Junior Sister 2 had been soloing the cerulean orchid for quite some time. You must know that the point is, several big bosses of the ghost sector inside. But if I rush to save her, this system won't give me a ton of rewards again, will it? Compared to the task, second junior sister is in great danger now. Looking at the miserably dead demon leader, Ling Xiao fiercely spat. Even Jia wouldn't dare to call himself the young master of the Soul Palace. Li Xiao was then planning to take his second sister apprentice and leave. This is a dangerous place. But then just at this moment, suddenly, a very chilling and dreary series of ghastly laughter sounded out. We could see a paper puppet doll flying very quickly towards Ling Xiao. Seeing this, his second sister apprentice hurriedly warned Ling Xiao to watch out behind him. Ling Xiao barely managed to dodge the attack. Otherwise, the terrifying energy brought by this paper effigy would not be something that Ling Xiao could handle, nor could his second junior sister in his arms. And the cultivation required for such a divine power as the city track spell through finger signals as a medium is, at the very least, quasi-dharmakaya toward late stage. In the original plot, the 8 great demon sects used the ghost sex methods to cause the blue sky sect disciples' cultivation to fall greatly. When the heavenly dark blood demon breaks through the wind, they will attack the blue sky sect mountain gate in one go. And this guy is the demon cult's left dharma protector, Heavenly Dark Child. However, Heavenly Dark Child still thought that Ling Xiao was a golden core cultivator and planned to catch Ling Xiao to use as a snack. Little sister 2, you disagree, huh? Step aside. Your eldest junior brother is going to start showing off. In the original, Heavenly Eagle comes on much later. It's because little sister 2 made a change that he's here now. with power almost on par with Heavenly Yin. Not even the male protagonist can defeat it. Fortunately, Ling Xiao knew one fatal weakness of the Sky Demon. That is, to point at his nose and insult him. "You're the legendary singer, right?" Second junior sister first opened. Thought Ling Xiao would unleash some powerful magic. Ling Xiao's sudden rush of swearing momentarily stunned him, and Celestial Child of Shadow Yin. After reacting, Celestial Child of Shadow Yin was immediately exasperated. He thought of how he had dominated the demonic sect for a few centuries. When had he ever been insulted by a small fry? Golden Core Taoist. He desperately wanted to teach this kid a lesson. Junior apprentice sister 2 saw the situation was serious and wanted to go up and help. Was stopped by Ling Xiao's vines. Ling Xiao resisted against the zombie with vines and told his second junior not to interfere and just watch the show. However, the more Ling Xiao resisted, the more Tianyin Child became perverse. His eyes that looked at Ling Xiao were as if he had seen delicacies. He couldn't wait to rush forward and swallow him down. That sticky mouthwash that Ling Xiao found truly disgusting. After that, Ling Xiao didn't care about much when he cursed directly. Those words that were bad to hear left the heavenly monkey boy stunned on the spot. He thought about it for a while but couldn't figure out why Ling Xiao would know of his former imprisonment. He still refused to believe that he's a fact of the matter. The extreme anger made him feel uncomfortable. However, Ling Xiao was still spraying irrespectively. He directly and completely cursed the sky-shade boy into a demon. He was certainly going to have the boy, who was talking crap, killed by 1,000 cuts. However, that happened to fall into Ling Xiao's trap. In the original novel, he was named this due to the anger he suffered from the taunts of his second junior sister. Ultimately, this anger killed him, unsurprisingly. As soon as Ling Xiao called him ugly, the heavenly Yin boy behind him instantly turned into a pool of blood. When his second junior sister witnessed this happening before her eyes, she only had one thought. Then I would say that the real culprit with a dirty mouth should be Fei de Shixiang. However, he quickly came around and became hesitant. He took out the calming spirit bead and gave it to Ling Xiao. After all, in his eyes, this was a token of love for Ling Xiao. However, Ling Xiao was not happy when he saw the bead. According to the original work, this bead should be the male lead's divine weapon, but giving it directly to the male lead made Ling Xiao feel uncomfortable. Moreover, if possible, let this disciple give me this item. Momentarily, Ling Xiao was startled by the words of this disciple. Besides the male lead, someone else had the idea of the spirit condensing orb. Not to mention, the newcomer is Jiang Yuan, another earthling who transmigrated too. However, after Ling Xiao observed him closely, he realized that this man was so familiar. The man was also very puzzled. He felt like he knew the young man before him. Suddenly, the expressions on their faces took on a jolt. They both recalled the past. So it turned out that 14 years ago, this is the man who kidnapped Yi Xianer. This was the reason why Yi Xianer later became the male lead's charm. The man didn't expect that the little brat from before had turned into a charming young swordsman. Ling Xiao saw this, quietly questioning him. "Have you come to settle the score with him for what happened that year? He's already taken out his escape artifact, the 10,000-mile Phoenix Talisman. He knows that if he fights this man, his second junior apprentice sister behind him will likely be implicated and affected. Fortunately, the man has no intention of engaging in combat with him. After all, he spent 60 years behind closed doors honing his swordsmanship, but his cultivation is only a realm higher than Ling Xiao's. He found that his realm was even higher than that of Ling Xiao. The reason that the man would act against Yi Xianer in the past was because he knew in the original storyline, the leading man would join hands with Yi Xianer and completely take over the Qinlan sect. He could forgive and forget as to what had happened in the past, but he really must ask about Ling Xiao's origins, very clearly. He doesn't want to find himself debating with Ling Xiao while he guards the sect. However, when the girl behind Ling Xiao called him senior disciple Ling, he suddenly realized that the teenager in front of him is most probably also a disciple of Qinlan sect. As he ruled them out one by one, he found out that the teenager in front of him is the deity, Ling Xiao, the chief disciple of the peak associated with the mountains. He was extremely down after he came around. Even though he had the system, he was suppressed by the male protagonist everywhere. Instead, this young man before him could easily beat up the male protagonist, so he doesn't deserve this condensing spirit orb. When Ling Xiao saw that this person wasn't after the condensing spirit orb anymore, he intended to quietly make his leave. The system did not call the mission a failure because of this man's sudden appearance. But at this moment, the man suddenly called out to Ling Xiao. He saw his expression suddenly became serious. "I have 3 words. I hope you will listen. First, you may be farther than you think you are, because you have rewritten your destiny. Second, keep the people around you safe. If you love someone, go for it. It makes you vulnerable to certain scum." Upon hearing this, the second junior sister blushed intensely. "Senior, my marriage to the big senior brother is none of your business. Third, remember that you are the strongest sword cultivator in the Qinlan sect's Jingyu Valley. As Xiao Shishu's great disciple, one's destiny shall not be weaker than others. Therefore, the greater one's ability, the greater one's responsibility. If one day Mammon wreaks havoc upon the world, you must do all you can to stop him." Ling Xiao began to laugh and cry after hearing this. In the original, he was such a loser that he didn't even live past episode 100. How could he possibly have the ability to save the world? I'd rather be the one shooting Spider-Man. Ling Xiao, the chest was just dropped. Suddenly, a horrifying aura filled the air behind them. The intruder was none other than one of the 3 treasures of Kanglan City, Lord Nan, the Grand Master of the Ghosts of the Mansion. This Grand Master's cultivation had long since entered the ultimate realm of Yuan's record. His sorcery could pierce the abyss and wield boundless power. It wasn't what he could compare to that day with the child. It was just at this moment, Ling Xiao found out with astonishment, this uncle blocked their way and urged them to leave quickly. He'd take care of this. The man slowly lifted the long sword in his hand. A stream of emerald energy burst out. Mislead the Yamo for 60 years. I used to be the head of the Qinlan sect, Qian Feng. Head disciple, Jiang Yuan. I will fight the demons until they are all dead. 1 person and 1 sword. They charged into the army of ghosts. Ling Xiao heard this and felt excited. So it's the companion of Jiang Yuan. No wonder he is so confident. In order to keep the fellow apprentice safe, he had to leave first. Just that leaving this time. That moment Ling Xiao's jade pendant. At the same time, male lead learned from history master now that evil cultivator has a cheat artifact. Spirit bead. He is hurrying towards Kanglan City at this moment. However, on the way, the corpses of the evil sect are all over the ground. It couldn't help but shock his mind. Just when he was speculating that this method was not Ling Xiao, it was Zhu Wanning. Suddenly, a token engraved with the words Ghost House attracted his attention. He never thought of that. The Jingjiao elders of the ghost sect. The great landlord died in the street. But at this time, Shirlao's words made his heart sink to the bottom. The Ningxian's aura has disappeared. That is to say, a certain cultivator broke into Kanglan City and killed these demon horns. He took the concentration spirit pearl. What a coincidence. As soon as Elder Shi finished speaking, Yichen found Ling Xiao's jade token on the ground. Yichen hated Ling Xiao with a vengeance. He is just a golden core cultivator and had just killed a Yuaning grandmaster. He also took my concentration spirit pearl. If I don't kill that son of a, I, Yichen, swear to never live my life as a human again. On the side, Elder Shi didn't have time to persuade him, when a weak voice came from somewhere. Are you the apprentice of Dr. Qing Lang? Leave Kanglan City quickly. The 8 great demonic sects have formed an alliance. The later generations will immediately change their ways. Yichen looked at this person with some confusion. This man reminds me of someone familiar. But when he heard the man telling him to follow Ling Xiao, the disciple of Shenwan Peak, and leave this place, his expression turned cold again. Ling Xiao. So you are the disciple of Shenwan Peak. Before Jiang Yuan had a chance to explain, Yichen slashed his throat with one sword. Jiang Yuan would never have thought that the man before him was the protagonist, Yichen. He wanted to get rid of Yichen's behavior completely astounded the 10 old masters. This man could be considered a fellow disciple. Why did you kill him? Yichen's face was full of greed. He was a fellow disciple, but he was also a member of Mount Shenwan. Whoever is involved with Ling Xiao must die. Anyway, Lion. Once Ling Xiao returned, he saw Shu Wanning standing guard. After some questioning, he learned that Shu Wanning had passed by this inn and discovered that the disciples of Shenwan Peak were all unconscious inside. He stayed to protect the disciples in case anything happened. Ling Xiao obviously knows about the incident, but in order to avoid junior sister Zhu from realizing it, he still suggests to go and check the situation of the junior sisters. Junior sister Zhu Wenyan immediately says, the junior sisters have only fallen into a deep sleep and are not answering. After speaking, he gazed at. She looked at his second junior sister, who had returned with Ling Xiao. His concealment attempts. Obviously, there was something he wanted to say to Ling Xiao. The 2 women happened to lock eyes. Martial sister Gua, can I borrow your eldest brother? Just for one night. The 2 of them then went to the inn's roof. Ling Xiao started shivering. Speak now, martial sister. Zhu Wanning has awakened to memories of the way of heaven and a strange feeling toward Ling Xiao. She looked at him, face flushed, eyes hazy. Martial brother Lin, do you despise me? Ling Xiao evidently did not expect that the usually aloof martial sister would say such a thing. Neither like nor dislike you, I suppose. The relationship between you and me and other students, there is no difference. Zhu Wanning was relieved, then begged Ling Xiao. Senior brother Lin is weak in martial arts. Please don't let him participate, okay? Leave Yichen to me to defeat. Wanning must have asked you. Here is another martial sister trying to talk Ling Xiao out of participating in the martial arts competition. Can't help but this gives Ling Xiao a headache. Getting the lunchbox and flying up is just around the corner. At this crucial moment, it doesn't matter who comes. Martial sister Zhu, no need to try to persuade me. But Yichen, I'm sure to eat you up. If martial sister Zhu has nothing else to do, it would be best to return early. We'll be going back tomorrow morning. Zhu Wanning was obviously taken aback upon hearing this. Back? Didn't we have to go to Kanglan City to drive out the demon cult? It's already over. Demonic Taoist sure has been executed by my martial sister Yuron, and the conspiracy of the demon gate in Kanglan City. We also learned about it. As soon as this was said, Zhu Wanning felt a little depressed. I can't help at all. It's no wonder that senior brother Lin didn't have me in his eyes. Unexpectedly, Ling Xiao changed his style and said, Junior sister Zhu, you are really beautiful, like the moonlight tonight. He has come. As the first person to eat crab in the 8, Wei Wei can be considered to have completely grasped the future. Just now, Ling Xiao deliberately teased Zhu Wanming in order to maintain his villain character. But I never thought that my younger martial sister would not be angry. But I didn't expect that not only was junior sister not angry, but instead I feel slightly touched. However, it was this wave of cheesy pickup lines that made the system strike Ling Xiao hard and rewarded Ling Xiao a set of cultivation techniques for a double cultivation session. At night, Ling Xiao kept thinking, ever since Yiqing paid a visit to his mountain, the plot had not followed the original storyline. Apart from his fellow junior martial sister, even a supporting character like Jiang Yuan can make him feel. But he never expected that Jiang Yuan is also a system owner who has traveled through time. Back then, if it weren't for the injuries of junior sister 2, he would definitely stay to fight side by side with Jiang Yuan. Thinking about it, it's my own fault for being just a bit player in their ranks. I don't have Yiqing's ambitions or Shileo's experience. I could never save the Qing man cult. I'll just follow the plan. I'll do my best in this final act. I'll just dance my heart out. The balance system seems to go against Ling Xiao on purpose. Ling Xiao had just complained. The system praised him and promoted him. It made Ling Xiao doubt himself. If he hadn't been a time traveler, knowing what would happen next, he would have almost thought that he was the main character. He opened his clothes and looked inside. I saw Xiao Fu concentrating a strange energy, continuously nourishing himself. To be honest, this feeling of life level improvement is really wonderful. Lying down, The realm was raised to the Dharma aspect realm. Then Ling Xiao unbuttoned his shirt. He continued to feel his own Dharma aspect until the golden light burst out. Ling Xiao slowly opened his eyes. However, what emerged was a simple cocoon. Ling Xiao was a little speechless. His 3 junior sisters and master's magic images were more dazzling than each other, but for him, it was just a broken sword. After thinking about it, he realized he was just a minion villain, and a broken sword can still be considered appropriate. But when Ling Xiao was about to sleep, junior sister suddenly knocked on the door. Ling Xiao was so scared that he sat up suddenly. After the drugging incident, Wei Wei's gentle and virtuous image has collapsed in his heart. If he lets him in, a man and a woman will be alone in a room. This is not easy to protect. Unexpectedly, the majestic outside the door was relentless. I had to sleep with Ling Xiao, regardless of the fact that he broke the door directly. Ling Xiao was so frightened that he didn't know what to do, slightly coming in. That kind of lovable look didn't speak. Sitting by Ling Xiao's bed like this, seeing the presented beauty, Ling Xiao was in such torment inside. If it weren't for the fear of affecting the plot of the 5 Veins Assembly, how could Ling Xiao be willing to become this honest gentleman to break this awkward situation? Wei Wei gently raised her hand. Before she could even speak, she scolded Ling Xiao and called him a phony. Ling Xiao was afraid of losing control if he touched it. However, Wei Wei was not so nervous when he saw it. He saw his little hand reaching out, suddenly grabbed it downward, completely grasped the future, and realized the wish of sleeping with the sisters. But Ling Xiao was not happy at all. He felt that if he continued to sink in this way, all that awaits you is the precipice, and that feeling is as if you've already experienced this countless times. Just now, Ling Xiao looked at Wei Wei with shame. Truly didn't expect this, that he would do such an indecent act. Who would have thought? Wei Wei instead reveals a look of understanding. She has read widely since childhood, so she has a little knowledge about the ways of the world. So, senior brother, can you respond to Wei Wei directly? It's such a sexy image. But Ling Xiao still pushes Wei Wei away without hesitation. Stop it. There are junior sisters all around you. If they see this, the entire Signwood sect. I'll arrange for you to go to the Shadowed Stars territory. Ling Xiao suddenly froze. He saw Wei Wei's eyes, softly filled with a look of shock. There were still some traces of tears in the corner of her eyes. Clearly, he didn't expect Ling Xiao to have such a huge reaction. Wei Wei softly sobbed, while asking Ling Xiao that me and the second martial sister, who does the big martial brother prefer? Just at this moment, Lu Rong suddenly broke into the door. He looked at the third martial sister Wei Wei with anger. You are so shameless. Why haven't you let go of the big martial brother? Wei Wei's face instantly darkened after hearing this. Clear bell, second sister. You've been following me. So now, Wei Wei no longer cares about their years as fellow sex sisters. She wanted to let Ling Xiao see her, completely separate from Yulong Lai. You may not know what first senior brother has been doing all these years, for whom at the end of the day, some people are still embarrassingly self-absorbed. As soon as these words were uttered, Ling Xiao was visibly stunned, helplessly lifting his back. The other hand, however, grabbed at his own clothes. And when Yurong heard this, he was visibly furious. He knows it. His junior is being sarcastic, so he starts to talk back. The way you beat around the bush. Only Yi Chen is good enough for you. Then he grabs Ling, the eldest apprentice, who wants to escape the battlefield. It's better to hurt a bit now than suffer all the time. It's time to tell this girl the truth. That exquisite face of mine, that exceptional figure of mine. It was too easy to subdue her. Ming Ming. Wen Yan also grabbed Ling Xiao by the other arm, looking at him with a serious face. Senior brother, please have some sympathy. Extinguished the mistress' actual fantasy ruthlessly. And he was also thinking in his heart, from Brother Damping's physiological reaction just now. Isn't that just a naked love for me? Marketing. Just like that. I was pulled left and right by the 2 junior sisters. Yun's rod has a big head and 2 big ones. The left is a cut, and the right is a short cut. Neither of you can die a good death. Helplessly, he could only let go of the 2 women. He slowly said to the 2 junior sisters, do you see the night outside the window? Eldest senior brother, I am just like the moon in the sky, watching over you who are like the stars. Only the 3 of us are together. It can compose a complete night view. This scene, coupled with the crystal tear at the corner of Ling Zhao's eye, instantly moved the 2 junior sisters into tears. The 2 stepped forward to hug their eldest brother, repeatedly saying that they themselves were small-minded. They shouldn't have used narrow thoughts to speculate about the broad mind of their eldest brother. Ling Xiao then also changed his application. A faint smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. As a natural warm man, melting and handing over should be the basic mystery of his heart. That night, they slept side by side like when they were children. There was no deceit, only warmth and beauty, embracing the beauty in the sleep. For the first time, Ling Xiao felt unprecedented peace in his heart. Perhaps it was because he thought he would soon leave this world. Ling Xiao greedily enjoyed this beautiful moment, but he had a vague feeling that if he continued to sink down like this, he might face an endless abyss. And it's all of it. As for me, for which reason do I have this kind of feeling of having been experienced countless times? Little junior sister is the real white lotus. In order to get Ling Xiao's favors, she will always show her soft and weak side in front of everybody. That way, not only will the 2 senior sisters be unable to do anything to her, even Ling Xiao will give him special attention. But no one ever thought that under this cute appearance there is such a heartbeat. Just now, Ling Xiao, who had just rested with his 2 junior sisters for a night, couldn't help complaining. The 2 junior sisters are really not polite. However, before she could finish nagging, Xu Wanning rushed anxiously inside. Turned out that last night, Jiang Yuan single-handedly slaughtered thousands of demonic disciples, so that the remaining demonic forces in the city withdrew from Kanglan City. This was obviously beyond Ling Zhao's expectations. He asked Xu Wanning anxiously, have you seen any upright cultivator lose their way? Xu Wanning was obviously taken aback by Ling Zhao's question. She didn't know why Ling Xiao would ask that, but from the information she had gathered, there were no losses. However, at daybreak, there was a man dressed in the uniform of the Azure Cloud sect, who walked out of the city gate covered in blood. However, what everyone didn't expect was that the man was actually Yi Chen. Ling Xiao, who didn't know heard this and heaved a sigh of relief. He thought that the man with the sword was Jiang Yuan. He kept exclaiming how strong Jiang Yuan was. Then he greeted the two junior sisters behind him and continued on. Before he went back to Nanjing, he completely destroyed the plan of the 8 great evils to poison the areas around the Qinglan sect. Keep casualties in the Qinglan sect to a minimum for the next period of time. Ling Xiao led his fellow sect members to cut off the contaminated branch of the spiritual vein, something he didn't expect happened halfway. His two junior martial sisters guessed the situation like gods. They accurately found the pollution source of the spiritual vein. As for Zhu Wanning, she was even more clever. She relied on her own strength and incinerated the source of the corpse poison. This gave him a feeling like his junior martial sisters were the ones who held the script, not him. Afterward, the two teams ignored the night city entirely. In the case of the team returning together in triumph, just stepped into Zhongzhou. This fresh air could not help but let Ling Xiao take 2 more breaths, then bid farewell to his junior sisters one by one. But when he is ready to lead the two junior sisters go back to the master to report, a crisp, big brother drew his attention. He saw that junior sister was flying over with a joyful expression. Ling Xiao responded enthusiastically when he saw her. He nearly forgot about her. He even went to Kanglan City and hadn't even bid her farewell. But at this moment, junior sister didn't care about that. To her, her elder brother was her everything, only to suffer the fate of the presale he brought with him. However, upon making contact, Ling Xiao's face turned really pallid. The silky smooth touch could not be the one I gave him. The two were fooling around, and Shen Wanfeng's disciples saw everything. Yu Rong's and Wei Wei's expressions also became very sullen at that moment. I didn't expect your junior sister to steal the fake so soon after I got back. And so the two of them reached an agreement in that moment that they absolutely could not let his junior sister succeed. After some fooling around, Yi Chen also felt that something was wrong, and so he told his junior sister to hurry up and come down. However, his junior sister shook her head firmly and refused to let go. Yu Rong and Wei Wei could no longer sit still. Ding Ying, you're making a disgrace in front of everyone. How dare you behave this way? Let go of your eldest brother this instant. As an expert in love, junior sister couldn't have misunderstood his words, so she hugged Ling Xiao even tighter. Ling Xiao gazed across at the looks of resentment from his two junior sisters. He is aware of this. If this scene were to be placed in some of Lan Xian's anime works, that would be a death by 10,000 cuts. At this time, the little junior sister in Ling Xiao's arms devised a plan. She immediately turned her head and began to cry uncontrollably. She just wanted to spend more time with her martial arts elder brother. How could her elder martial sister say such things to her? Was it because Ying is a little fool and an idiot? Then you don't deserve senior brother's affection. Really? As soon as she said this, Long and Wei Wei were instantly embarrassed. Yeah, she's a naive and innocent girl. Could she have any bad intentions? So after getting the permission of the two sisters, the little sister gently wiped the tears, which could come at will. He fixed his eyebrows toward two senior sisters, showing a victor's smile. Thanks for your fulfillment, senior sisters. The words that you give the eldest senior brother to me, he said it with force. Lu Rong has slightly acknowledged. She understood that she had been played by his harmless appearance, and a house made of thatched grass deep in the forest. Ling Xiao is still dutifully comforting his little junior sister, and unexpectedly, Ying Ying suddenly smiled innocently. I wonder senior brother if he should at this time reward Ying Ying with something. My little sister would have her senior brother kiss her jade hand. Ling Xiao dares to not agree. He would then die with Ling Xiao. Just now, my junior fellow apprentice looked at her senior fellow apprentice with a smile. From time to time, she breathed out a puff of hot air. She was preparing to kiss him. Ling Xiao pushed her away and seriously warned his younger fellow apprentice. There should be a degree in everything. Such things absolutely cannot be done. Hearing that, the junior martial sister started to cry. You don't understand. That time in the Lotus Cave, senior martial brother clearly didn't reject me. Ling Xiao also knew that his words were more or less a little harsh. He hurriedly went forward to comfort him. At the same time, he also gave himself a warning. He must, before ascending, get the junior apprentice sister back on the right track. It's just that the junior apprentice sister's behavior really took him a little by surprise. At this moment, the junior apprentice sister was hurriedly turning things over until she found that carefully prepared grass and sea-polished stone for Ling Xiao. Then he slowly opened his mouth and said, Senior apprentice brother, do you still remember when you avenged me when I was young, and then you brought me back to the Luz that night in our hometown? This ring represents a girl's everlasting love for a boy. If the boy rejects her, then the girl will never marry, or will kill her lover with her own hands and then kill herself. Is that how I can be with my beloved one forever in another world? Ling Xiao was rendered speechless. Her warped love had at one point, however, when Xiao Shimi saw the look on his face, she thought he was frightened, so she hurried to explain that she would never do anything to harm her senior brother. Little did he expect that the straw sword he crafted day and night was meant to be a gift to him before Ling Xiao left Kanglan City. However, at that time, Ling Xiao only had his master in his eyes and had completely forgotten about his junior sister. Ling Xiao breathed a little sigh upon hearing this. He knew what he had done was a little bit unexpected, but when he really needed to face the straw ring his junior sister handed him, he didn't know how to speak for a while. If he took the ring, it would mean accepting her. However, after he ascended, wouldn't this mean his junior sister had to wait for him all her life? An idea suddenly crossed my mind. Unless there's an unexpected twist in the Five Veins dance. Even as a person who has traveled through time, I don't know how the plot will develop next. I can only say this. After my senior brother defeats that bastard of a protagonist, will we be okay? Meanwhile, junior apprentice sister Wenyan has a sentence on the tip of her tongue, but hesitates to utter it. It is, or have you ever thought that you might not be able to defeat the male protagonist at all? Just like that, The two of them stare at each other for a full 10 seconds. In the end, junior apprentice sister chooses to compromise. She promises Ling Xiao that she will wait for the martial arts conference, and then wait for his answer. And the most important reason he agreed to is that he wanted to take advantage of the situation. Wu Man will compete with the martial master brother and will fail. He will then be laughed at by his fellow students. All he needs to do at that time is to become the only light in the master brother's life and infuse warmth into his body. Everything will then follow naturally. Then he will run away with senior brother, creating 17 or 18 calamities for him. As he was thinking, he slowly stood up. Amidst Ling Xiao's surprised expression, he asked, "Senior brother, do you like English?"